Looks like a bright yellow Ferrari behind me. Oh, he is pulling up right now. That's definitely a Ferrari. Oh, oh, look at this bright yellow NSX. Oh, it's an NSX. That is sick. I literally thought that was a Ferrari in my rearview mirror, but it is a bright yellow NSX. Not too common. I really just mistook a NSX for a Ferrari. You should know better, Kyle. Alright guys, in the last video we got the new M&M TH400 for the tube chassis, 2JZ Civic here, and if you look at the Civic, our 2J and transmission is suspended in the air under its own weight, and Wyatt has been busy knocking out some mounts for us.
Don't mind the jack under it right now.
That's
to take a little weight off the transmitter to finish the mounts, but it does hold its own weight. It rolls with its own engine and powertrain in it. And yeah, it's coming together really good.
It's getting close, so it's looking really good. So Wyatt went and took a couple pieces of chromoly tubing and we added these sections right here so we could build mounts off of those to go to this front motor plate, and those are done and welded in. And then if you look at the back here, we got some tabs made and this bar that goes across to go to the tail shaft of the transmission there. And right now he's working on getting the mounts to go to the mid plate done. He got these bars bent up to go from our dash bar right here down to the floor bar or frame rail, if you want to call it that, and he's building some tabs off of that guy to go to the mid plate, and that's why there's a jack under it, because we got all the load off the tail shaft to get the mid plate lined up where it needs to be.
Yep, trying to distribute the weight evenly, because if I put it where it's at now, then the transmission brace would always be bent, and that's not ideal. So
you want to tell them about the angle of the dangle on this whole deal?
Yeah, so I ain't no chassis builder by any means, but I think I've got the angle of it set right. We've got it in there at a 1 degree slant, and that should get us relatively close, keep our driveline angle where we need it throughout the range of the suspension. So as far as I can tell, it should work pretty good. When it doesn't, I want no part of this. But I think it's...
So if it goes well, Wyatt did everything, and if it breaks, Wyatt had nothing to do with it.
Yep, I didn't do this. Not me at all. So yeah, it's getting close though. We got to finish up that one other tab on the other side there, finish welding out the mid plate mounts, and then that's pretty much done for motor mounts. We can start figuring out body panels and how we're going to seal the cab up. And I mean, really, that's like the majority of the work this chassis needs is just that. So start doing sheet metal work and wiring and plumbing. And
plus, you were saying that this mid plate or the front motor plate here helps kind of tie all this together.
Yeah,
so some structural support up here.
Yeah, if you just look at all the geometry of it, this acts as a strut bar in kind of a roundabout way. So it's going to tie the front end up really well. Shouldn't have any problems with the front end moving. You know, I put weight on this, set it on the suspension, jumped on it 6-7 times, nothing moves. So I'm not worried about that at all. We were also talking about double frame rate in the car, but we decided to hold off on doing that for right now. This is not a ProCharge big block setup, so I don't really think it needs the double frame rails for right now. It's long story short, but yeah, we'll get into that later if we need it. But I don't think it's gonna.
2J can twist the frame at all on this thing.
I mean, it's got all the geometry to keep it stout, so I don't think it's gonna need the double frame rail stuff. Plus, this thing is so narrow, we don't really have the room for it. So
yeah, it looks good in there. The
Yeah.
Civic's officially 2J swapped. Now it's like actually mounted up in there. We were also worried about the clearance under the windshield right here. So as you can tell, our 6th coil is pretty far back up under there. That did concern us just for maintaining the car or working on it. It might make things not so ideal. We were talking about adding an access panel back here if needed, but the way it's looking right now, we should be able to work on everything without too many issues. So we got the coil pack set where those need to be. If you clip this off of there, those slide out like no problem, and you can still get to that last spark plug pretty easily. So you just get a socket on there with a stubby extension, and we can get the spark plugs out no problem at all. That's not in our way, and we can get these valve covers off no problem. And once those are off out of the way, if for some reason we like needed to pull ahead at the track or an event or still in the car, we should have plenty of room to get that up and off and get everything out of there. And I think we can, you know, work on everything, no issues at all. Because our goal is to not modify this if we didn't have to. We wanted to try to keep the factory Civic look and not have to put a cowl into the windshield here and go crazy with it. So we're gonna do our best to avoid doing that, and I think that we'll be able to make it work because we can get to everything just fine. And that's where it's gonna sit, boys. And also, if you look down here, well, I mean, the car's not all the way on the ground right now, but the oil pan is pretty high off the ground. So that was something else we had to consider because we wanted it to be as low in there as we could. And we had to line some things up with the rear end, all that stuff. But everything's looking great. So
to be fair, it's below the frame rails, but not enough that I'm worried about it.
yeah, no, as far as like driving it on the road and stuff, we have enough clearance.
Yeah, and we're gonna put skis on it anyway, so if it does, for whatever reason, wheelie to the moon and then slam down, the skis will take the hit, not the oil pan. So
little bath bars under there.
Yep. So should be good to go though.
Yeah, but she's in there, boys. It looks freaking sweet.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm back over here at Induction Performance. Victor hit me up. He said he needed some help getting Cletus's Supra back up and running.
We're backed up in the shop. We needed some wrenches.
He needed a motor quick, so you know this should be capable of the power that it was making once
I think
before.
this will handle the abuse. He needed a billet block. Everyone
Yeah,
was saying
I
in the
did have a
comments.
billet block
Yeah.
ready, and I
Yeah.
wasn't using it, so
Here it is.
you know, we got our boy Cletus hooked up with a K-Series. You know, we just got to whip up some mounts, get this thing in there, and he's going to be cracking
Ready to go.
B-Tech in this thing.
We should have this thing ready for FL2K.
Oh, yeah. Dude, he doesn't even know about the surprise yet. I'm sure he's going to be so excited.
I think he's going to be excited. He said something about an engine swap. I thought he said LS, but this is better.
Yeah, this is good to go,
This
dude.
is better, yeah.
This is pretty sick. Has anyone actually K-swapped a Supra, like a Mark IV?
I don't think so. I think this is the first one.
It actually looks kind of good in there. All kinds of room for
And
activities.
we're probably saving a bunch of weight, too. Like,
Yeah, honestly, we're doing him a favor.
We're doing him a huge favor. And a lot of RPM. He likes
He
RPM.
loves rev
He
limiter.
loves rev limiter.
K-Series love rev
He kind of
limiter.
drove this like how Honda guys drive in general.
Yeah, I think he'd be perfect with a Honda
This is a perfect fit, yeah. We'll get him a Honda tattoo. He's ready.
Perfect. All right, guys, so the real reason I'm over here at Induction Performance is because we are picking up the turbo for the rear-wheel drive Civic. And this is a step up from what's on the MR2. This is the biggest turbo I believe we will have, at least the most capable of horsepower. And yeah, I'm excited. Victor has this thing right over here for us.
Yep, so this is the next gen 8385 from Precision Turbo. We just got these. We have a bunch of them on the shelf. We did a lot of testing with these. This is the baddest T4 turbo on the planet. We got a bunch of them. We got all the next gen stuff is coming out shortly from Precision. So we've got like the 7275s, the 8385s, 8085s, 7685s. Check us out, ippt.com. And whatever you need from Precision, we got it.
The turbo on the MR2 is a 8085, and this is a 8385, so just a slight step up. And that 83 stands for 83 millimeter.
Yeah, and they rate this turbo at 1,700 horsepower. So
Which is plenty.
plenty for that car.
Right
yeah.
about at the limit to where we're getting dangerous with what the cast block
Yeah,
could
so I
take.
mean, that engine's pretty solid. That's probably the limitations of it, but we're going to send it anyway.
Yeah, we're ready to go.
See what it does.
You were trying to start me off with a smaller one.
Nah,
but
I like
was
this anyway.
Let's
yeah.
do this.
We quickly changed our mind to just send it.
Yeah, I'm ready to go, dude. I think we should pop this thing out real quick.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Take a look at this thing. Shoo! You got a shaft speed sensor on there.
Had to get you right. Got the shaft speed, stainless 128 V-band housing. It's a bad boy.
That is a unit right there.
Check us out. Any turbos you need, ippt.com. We've got tons of stuff in stock, no waiting. Get on it.
So Ryan found a bundle of drones on Marketplace.
Killer deal.
Couldn't pass it up. $200 for
Here,
4 drones, the FPV goggles,
Yep.
and the controller, batteries and all, spare parts, and we got 4 rippers here.
I couldn't pass it up because I know you fly, and like we could always do crazy stuff. with
Yeah,
them,
I'm not big on the drones. I've had one in the past, but Ryan used to rip these things around, and we got this guy fired up. We're gonna test this one first. All right, fire this thing up. Ryan's pretty good. He can do all the crazy flips and stuff. Dude, that thing rips. All right, punch it. Gosh, dang, dude. That thing is so sick. Oh, dude, there's hawks going after it. Yeah, keep it right around here.
Oh, I
Dude,
see
he
him,
is swooping
dude.
for it. Oh, dude, the hawk is not having it. Hold it there. Oh,
Oh,
dude.
They are swarming.
There's so many. Come on, Ryan, you got it. Through the box. Oh, beautiful. Not so beautiful. There you go. So this one right here is supposed to be the Ripper. I took one of my GoPros and we zip tied it on there. And we'll see what this thing does. All right, you're good. God dang. Dude, that thing rips. That thing is so fast. Dude, if that hit you, you're dead. Those propellers sound nasty. Oh yeah, that one is a ripper.
That's so fast.
That thing is nuts. With the GoPro on there, didn't even phase it. That'd be nice to have if we want some drone shots at a car event.
I know a guy.
You're gonna be my new freaking drone pilot, dude.
Got you.
So we got the 2JZ pulled back out of the Civic right now. Wyatt's getting some stuff cleaned up with everything out of the way on the lift there. And I'm getting ready to put the flex plate back on. It goes along with our adapter kit. So this spacer right here is what we were missing. We didn't have this on there and we were confused why these flywheel bolts were bottoming out. And it's because we did not have this flex plate spacer. So I also picked that up at induction. So that guy goes right there in between. We can get this on there, get everything bolted back together. And then once we get everything into the car, we do have to measure some clearances for the torque converter and get some spacers in for that. But then after we do all that, this assembly here is done and we can fully bolt it into the car. As you guys saw, we got the mounts and everything done. And then we're good to go after that. We're just about ready to put this 2J back into the Civic. While I got everything fully welded out in here, you can see our mid plate right there, which is super nice. Like we were talking about, we can literally just bolt the engine right up to that guy and then the trans bolts to the back side of it. So it will make working on this thing very nice if it has to come in and out.
Yeah, it makes it real easy. You can separate one or the other super quick. So
yeah, we still have to add another bar that will run underneath the transmission right there, since we did cut some stuff back out. So we do have to add some of that back in for the chassis, but we're gonna make it so that it's removable so we can drop that trans or engine out as needed. But ready to stick this thing back in.
yep, let's do it.
Dude, who would have thought all those years ago we'd be building freaking basically Civic Pro mods.
Pretty much.
Look at this thing, boys. Got the turbo hung up on there. That is looking sick.
Starting out with a 300 horsepower front wheel drive Civic to this, it's quite the come up.
Dude, back when me and Wyatt first experienced a turbo Honda, it was in the hatch,
Yep.
making just over 300 wheel horsepower, and we thought it
Yeah.
was the coolest thing
For real.
in the world.
Stayed up all night putting a motor together in your parents' garage, and look at us now. Building pretty much pro mods.
That is freaking crazy, boys.
That's nuts.
It's all bolted up in there. Everything's welded out, good to go. And we were just kind of mocking up roughly where the turbo is gonna sit. We just got it sitting on a stand right now, so it's not exact. I ended up giving that turbo manifold back to Victor since it was a T4 style, and we're probably gonna put the wastegates in a different spot. So we might end up making our own manifold or possibly seeing if we can have one done, but since this is such a custom build, if we want the turbo exactly where we want it, we may have to knock that out ourselves, but we will.
All the pre-made ones are meant to fit around a shock tower and a Supra, so they kind of compromise flow in my opinion. So I think if we can get that dialed in and put the turbo where we want it, kind of keep it lower too.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Not many people make manifolds for 2J's E-Swap Civics. So.
yeah, it's not exactly your off-the-shelf variety.
But that is gonna look so good, boys. Freaking nuts.
Coming together.
So before we get out of here, we are going to weigh this thing with the engine and transmission bolted up. Obviously, we have a lot more weight to put in it, but this will give us a good baseline of where we're starting. I believe without everything in there, it was about like 800 pounds, and this should add close to 600. So,
You want me to guess?
so we'll see.
I'll guess.
She should be right around 1,400 pounds.
I'm gonna guess 1388.
1388.
No, on the money. That's so crazy.
Where are we at? Dang, dude, 1388.
Wow,
it's almost
bro,
like
that's so crazy.
yeah, we weighed it yesterday, but it is really freaking light, boys. So if we can add no more than 1,000 pounds to this thing, which I did some rough calculations just weighing everything out, and I don't see this thing being much over 2,400 pounds even with me in it, which will be nuts.
Yeah.
So
My goal is 2,400 with you in it, not a pound heavier.
yeah, I think we can do it.
Yeah, so we'll just have to get creative about saving weight some places, but I think it'll be pretty easily done. Be pretty nuts.
Yeah, wild, boys. Ton more to come on the tube chassis Civic here, but we are going to end it there. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you later.